And this broadcast brought to you by 106th Street Tire and Wheel. Get your automotive stuff done at 106th Street Tire and Wheel, located in Corona, New York, 11368. We are officially live here at True New York Sports Studios with Billy the Knowledge Punch and Lou the Ball DiMartino back for Season 2, Episode 2 of the That Sports, what do we call it again, Billy? I'm sorry.
The True to New York Sports Baseball Power Hour is back.
Sorry, it's been a while. Yeah, Billy, how's everything going? How are you feeling? Baseball is around the corner. Justin Verlander is in a Mets uniform. It's so weird to see on TV. What's up, my brother?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. You know, it's time. The Super Bowl hangover's over. We're not watching the damn XFL. It's spring training time. And, spring training's off to a weird start, man. It really is. I mean, you're so happy to see guys back. You want the biggest thing in New York, and we all know it, is we want these guys to get out of this healthy. And we've been hit with a couple of injuries with the Yankees so far already, with Nestor Cortez having to pull out of the WBC due to a hamstring injury. And we now know that Frankie Montas is going to be out for, I'm going to say it's going to be this season. I don't think we're going to see Frankie Montas pitching for the Yankees at any point this season, unless, barring a miracle, which I don't see happening. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, I mean, listen, honestly, as exciting as it sounds to say that your starting five and your number 5 pitcher is Frankie Montas, he was a disaster last season for us. The more that we talk about it, Billy, the more I think that you're right on this whole he was hurt throughout the whole year thing, and he, maybe he thought he could play through it, or he wanted out of Oakland. Whatever the reason is, he was a disaster last year. But if it's going to get Frankie Montas to a healthy Frankie Montas, and maybe if we could see him at the end of the year, I'm okay with that too. You can never have too much pitching, to be honest, Billy.
The whole thing is, and I'm going to say what I said last year about this, and I'm going to stick to it. I don't know if Frankie Montas was ever healthy, and I can't blame the player for that. And I also I'm not going to blame Brian Cashman for it. I mean, Brian Cashman's at the forefront of the Yankees trades, obviously, and everybody's going to always blame a bad one on him. They're going to praise him for a good one. But you have to remember something. There's people out there, there's medical people on the Yankees that cleared Frankie Montas, that gave him a physical and cleared him to become a member of the New York Yankees. Those are the people that should be responsible if he was really injured this entire time. Brian Cashman went off the word of his lieutenants of what the people gave him. Ian's here. Ian, we love to yell just for you, pal. I mean, come on.
Come on. It would be a show unless we weren't yelling for you.
But that's the whole thing, Lou.
Yeah.
Somebody told Brian Cashman he was all right. Brian Cashman didn't go out without medical reports and be like, you know what? Give me Frankie Montas. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. We don't need to check. They checked him. And that's it. That's what happened there. Somebody on the Yankees medical staff, if this injury was existing, they're the ones that screwed this up, not Cashman.
Right. And then as far as we know, nobody got let go or fired or anything like that, right?
I mean, Pete, Chet, the physical, he's a starting pitcher with a history of issues with his elbow and his shoulder. They definitely checked out those areas of him 100%. I don't believe any pitcher gets traded without his arm being checked out. So he was definitely checked out there. Somebody on the Yankees medical team had to have dropped the ball here, and that's really all it was.
Right. Agreed. What kind of physicals do they do? They do a whole type of doctor physical before they get
including, and I'm sure Frankie Montas went through tests on his arm. I do not believe that they wouldn't have done that for a second. Hi, Lonnie, how are you? But that's the reality. Is he was tested, he passed the physical to join the New York Yankees. I can't blame Brian Cashman for taking the information that was given to him.
Right, and Brian Cashman, especially Billy, not to interrupt you, but the amount of criticism that Brian Cashman has gotten over the years, he's not going to just take Frankie Montas because of his name. He's going to make sure that he's healthy and that he's able to perform, because the Yankees were one of the favorites to go to the World Series last year. So you can't blame, like you said, it's off of the information that Brian Cashman gets, and it was just I don't want to say it was bad information, but it just didn't work. And what, Trevor Bauer? You mean? I don't think the Yankees are going to trade.
I don't think you're going to see Trevor Bauer in. I don't think you'll see Trevor Bauer in a major market at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think if he's going to come back, it's going to be somewhere under the radar. Maybe even I think the one place you could see Trevor Bauer, if he resurfaces at all this year, is back in Cincinnati. He has a relationship there. It seemed that he was on good terms with the organization there, and he pitched well. So I don't know. And Pete, I don't agree with you at all. I do not think that the Mariners would look to bring him, especially this year, into that young clubhouse. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. But look, getting back to Brian Cashman's a lightning rod. We all know it. How many people out there have wanted Brian Cashman fired after probably every season since 2009? People have been called. I don't have an issue with Brian Cashman, and I never have. I mean, he puts winning teams on the field. He cannot make the players execute. I've said it time and time again. Do I always agree with the way he's built teams? No. But he's built teams that have won 90 games and more and have been in the playoffs every year except one of his tenure. I can't argue with this man's track record.
No, I can't argue with it either. But so and we're going to talk more about this later when we ask questions. But that's I'll save it for that segment. I'll save it for that segment when we do the question stuff. But it also comes down to the front office as well too, to a certain point. Where if Brian Cashman is going to be the GM of the Yankees, how long do you trust your front office before you start making changes?
I mean, I think too. Excuse me. I do think they took a step in that direction this year after giving Cashman a contract, and they went out and brought in two old school baseball guys in Omar Minaya and Brian Sabian. They went away from the analytics on those hires. Omar Minaya built a great farm system and has great international connections scouting wise with the Mets, and before that, even with the Expos. Brian Sabian worked for the Yankees, went out and ran the San Francisco Giants, won multiple World Series out there, and is now back with the Yankees. I think those guys are going to be huge. And I think those are two guys that actually have it to be able to go in there one day and say to Cashman, hey, Cash, this isn't working. We got to go out and look at this. We need to change something on this team. And I think those are guys that are going to have his ear and have his respect, that he's going to listen to them. And I don't think you bring guys like that in if you're not going to listen to them.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that for sure.
Chet,
Chet, listen, I'm the same way, Chet. I agree to the analytics to a certain point. I do. But that's why I love this year where they're moving the field where you can't do the shift. I love it. I love that you can't do the shift. I think Billy has a different opinion on that.
I actually agree with that. But one thing I'll say is Sabian and Minaya, and they've both been on record at saying this, they don't not like analytics, but they're not analytics driven people. Right. They believe it has a place, but it's never going to counter their full logic. But as far as the new rules, getting into that quick, I'm actually in favor of most of them. I don't think the base, as far as the bigger bases, I don't even think that's going to make a difference. I think after the first couple of days of the season, I don't think you're even going to realize that it's a difference. I think it's just going to blend into the field.
Yeah.
I think the shift is going to actually help the game. I think you're going to have guys like Rizzo, guys like Daniel Vogelback on the Mets. They're going to benefit a lot from not having the shift out there. And that's the way it should be. I'm all for it. The one thing I didn't love, but I've learned to understand a little better, is that the ghost runner, as they like to call it, on second base.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either.
I don't love it, but I also understand why now the actual teams voted to keep this going. Because, again, who on a travel day wants to play a 17-inning game, burn through their entire pitching staff, and then have to scramble to get guys from AAA to have an available bullpen when they have to play across the country possibly within the next 24 to 36 hours?
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just glad they don't do it for the playoffs. That's more like my main thing. Like during the season, I get it. there's definitely a strategy to it, too. But I'm just glad they don't do it for the playoffs, Billy. Like if they did it for the playoffs, I'd be a little like, all right, like that enough's enough. But I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
I get it. I mean, the one thing I'm curious to see, and I think as the season goes on, it'll get a lot better. But I think at first you may have some hiccups. Is the pitch clock?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of getting the game going, getting it moving a little, trying different ways to bring back some interest to the game. I think banning the shift is going to bring more interest back to baseball than a pitch clock. But that'll remain to be seen. I don't see a negative with either one of them. I think that is going to be the most difficult one to adjust to, though.
Sure, for sure, I agree. All right, Billy. So what is officially our first topic for tonight?
We're gonna get right into it, and we're gonna start talking about the biggest questions facing both teams. We're gonna start with the Mets, and I'm gonna ask you what I feel is the biggest question surrounding the New York Mets this year. Is the Met offense good enough? Did they do enough this offseason of bringing back guys, getting guys healthy? Is this offense good enough going into the 2023 season?
Billy, if you would have told me that Carlos Correa was still on this team, absolutely. Yes, they did enough offensively. Who did they sign after Carlos Correa's physical didn't come back? They haven't signed anybody.
No, and they brought back Vogelbach, they brought back Nimmo.
Right. But that was before
Carlos Correa. I'm just saying, in general, right. they brought back the same team.
Right, exactly. And how far did that team go last year? This is not a team that is going to win the World Series because you're going to need offense. Your two biggest bats are still only Lindor and Alonso. And as proven last year, you have the same team as last year, and everyone knows that you never just get better. Your team never gets better when you have the same team as last year. They either stay the same or they get worse, in my opinion. And they need another bat, Billy. Otherwise, this team is not going to go anywhere.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute, and I'm going to say, especially for the playoffs and the end of the season, the Starling Marte injury hurt the Mets. It hurt the Mets offense big time. Hopefully, I mean, all signs are pointing to he's going to be ready for opening day. He's not going to the WBC, which is a good thing. He originally was rumored to be playing in the WBC. He's going to stay. He's going to get right. He's going to get ready for the season, which is what they need. I still think they are a bat away. And I mean, that bat could turn out to be Francisco Alvarez. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see this kid play himself into making that decision to send him to AAA a very difficult one.
Yeah. But here's the thing though, Billy, is if are the Mets making Alvarez the starting catcher for opening day right now?
No.
Why? Why is he not the starting catcher for opening day? And listen, Billy, I'm a Yankees fan. Why are we not allowing these kids to play in major league games?
I don't know.
To start.
I don't know. Everything I keep hearing is they want him to work on his defense. I see a kid that DeGrom and Scherzer both went for extended. They didn't just pitch to him once. They were both in AAA on rehab assignments for extended periods of time last year, and both came back raving about this kid. So I don't understand if your top two guys were comfortable pitching to him already. I don't understand what the issue is. I don't see. Did he look a little overmatched? Yeah. You brought him up in the biggest series of probably the last 5-6 years that your team's played, and it didn't go great. But how many guys really do come up and hit the ground, with their ass on fire? Not many. So right. I think the kid deserves every chance. I'm hoping to see him in spring training make their decisions very difficult. But they didn't go out and get Narvaez and bring back Nitto to have any intention of starting him as their catcher, at least opening day. I'm hoping to see him at least hit his way into the lineup as the right-handed hitting DH.
I just don't understand where, and that's one thing. And obviously, look, I know I'm not a baseball manager or a baseball scout or anything like that, but isn't the best way to learn how to hit major league pitching is by actually being in the major leagues, because it's called AAA for a reason? Why are we not giving this kid a chance? Everybody wants to see him. It'll be a spark in the clubhouse. And you know what? If he sucks for the first month or two, you do the same thing that you did with what's his name in Seattle. You send them back. You send them down. Who was the outfielder that the Mets traded for Diaz?
Jared Kelenic.
You're right. Yeah, right. Kelenic. Why can't you just send them back down if he doesn't do well after the first month or two?
I don't get it. I don't get it. My biggest thing is, who is going to be the right-handed hitting DH that you are so sold on that's going to be any better than what Alvarez could possibly give you? Because, I mean, we saw what the Mets do with Vogelbach. The second a lefty comes on the mound, he's out of the game. It could be the third inning, and he's out.
Right.
So you need a right-handed hitting DH. Who's it going to be? Who's going to be the guy that's going to be the right-handed hitting DH that you are so sure of is going to be actually better than what? And I understand they don't want him to be a full-time DH at this age, but you're looking to win a championship. You're not building a team here. You are a team built to win now. So yeah, if he's your best option, he should be there.
Right. No, I agree. Because you literally have nobody else at DH right now. And in my opinion, if the Mets are actually going to be Batty's going to be playing third. He'll be playing third. He'll be splitting time with Escobar probably.
I don't know with that, because I don't again, if you're going to tell me you're not going to bring Alvarez up just to be a DH, but it's okay for Beatty, I don't get it. I wouldn't understand.
Right. Isn't Alvarez supposed to be the better hitter than Beatty?
Exactly.
So and Batty bats lefty. So if anything, you switch him with because Escobar's a switch hitter, right? You switch him with Escobar if anything, and you have Alvarez bat DH.
It's going to be
even 4 out of 5 games. He's got to get some reps in.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, we all know spring training; these things always have a way of working themselves out, whether they're injuries or whatever it is. Chet, barring something unforeseen, and again, I'd like to see Beatty do the same thing. I'd like to see Beatty have a great spring and make the decision very difficult. But as of right now, Escobar's your third baseman. They've done everything but write it in stone at this point.
Beatty's not going to be a Met by July anyway, because they're going to trade him to the Angels when they get Ohtani.
Yeah.
So so don't even worry about Beatty.
Going on. What do we make of the age and the injury history of the Mets starting rotation?
Oh. I mean, Billy, I'm going to answer your question with a question. Are the Mets starting rotation, is the Mets starting rotation this year better than it was last year? And the reason why I ask you that question is because you had a 35 and 38-year-old, arguably two of the best right-handed pitchers in baseball. And now you have a 39 and a 39-year-old, right?
Actually, Verlander turned 40 today.
Right. I turned 40 today. 40 and a 39-year-old, right? I think the team overall, pitching-wise, Billy, is better because I do think Verlander has shown that he can still be a Cy Young candidate at 39 years old. But can they stay on the field? If Verlander and Scherzer do not stay on the field, Billy, how are they going to win games? Who are they winning games with? Quintella?
The number one thing I'm going to say is yes, the starting staff is better than it was last year, and I'll tell you why. Because the best ability is availability, and Justin Verlander is what Jacob deGrom hasn't been in years, and that's available, and he can be counted on, and you're not just blowing smoke. And every time you mention Justin Verlander's name, you're talking about the accolade of in his last 2 full seasons, he won 2 Cy Youngs. Every time you mention Jacob deGrom's name, it was either preceded by or followed by the word if. If Jacob deGrom is healthy, if Jacob deGrom can make 20 starts, you're done with that. And that's got to be a sigh of relief for Met fans to not always have to use the word if. And now, but to me, the bigger questions in the Met rotation is the bottom 3.
Right.
And that's Kodai Senga, who by all means. I mean, but so did every Japanese pitcher that came here, right? The guy looks great. Let's see how it translates to the American game. That's going to be a very big thing. He's got to get in there to me, and he's got to pitch as many innings as he can this spring and just get acclimated with the speed, the pace, the pitch clock, and all these other things that come with American baseball. And Quintana, that could end up being the Mets' best move of the offseason. Could be if he pitches like he did in the second half last year for St. Louis, that could be the Mets' best move of this offseason. And then you want to talk injuries. The third member of that trifecta is Cookie Carrasco. And all I'm saying is one thing the Mets better make sure they have this spring is depth. They better have depth in that starting rotation, and it better be more than David Peterson. Because if you don't have depth somewhere, when or if one of these guys go down, you're going to be in trouble.
Right. Yeah, no, Chet, we know that the Mets still have Peterson, but having only 6 technically potential starting pitchers when 2 of your starting pitchers are 40 years old, that's, how many times last year did Max Scherzer get hurt over injuries that you don't even hear that pitchers get anymore probably because of his age? Like, let's be for real. He had a rib injury, like a side injury last year. He was out for a month. A side injury. You never see that from a pitcher.
I mean, Max Scherzer is a bulldog when he's on the field.
Of course.
Reality is Max Scherzer has spent time on the disabled list in the last 3 seasons, which at 30, in his age 36, 37, and 38-year-old seasons, you got to expect and respect that. It's understandable. It's the reality. You just need to. You're competing for a championship now. You're looking to go out there and be the last team standing. You need to have those pieces ready when the time comes. And that time is going to come somewhere at some point during the season with one of these starting pitchers.
Right. You know, Chet, I'm going to be honest with you, Chet. Tyler McGill's not that good. He's okay. He's all right. You want to know why he did really well last year at the start of opening day for you guys last year? Because nobody ever pitched him. Nobody knew him. And he had something to prove. That's why Tyler McGill was good for like the first 3 starts. And then he wound up with a 5 ERA at the end of the year. Like that's why. So everyone's up his ass because he had 3 good starts for you guys. And DeGrom and Scherzer started off on the DL.
I'll tell you, I think McGill can be a good filler. I mean, again, you're talking about McGill now as
filler, sure, but not
technically speaking, as your 7th starter. So as your 7th starter, I'm actually okay with that. I'm not afraid to see that.
No, putting him in the bullpen, I'm okay with. But when he starts to become a number 2 or 3, because let's just say Verlander and Scherzer are hurt, that's when you're going to have, I think, problems, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bullpen. The bullpen's one thing. I'm talking about a guy that you're talking Peterson and McGill. No matter if they go to the bullpen or not, they're your 6th and 7th starting pitchers, and that's good because they'd be in many rotations in baseball. I'm okay with that, but they got to make sure these guys are ready to go when needed because they're going to be needed at one point or another during this season. You know, there's gonna be days towards the end of the year where you're gonna want to give Senga an extra day because remember he's coming from Japan where he's used to pitching in 6-man rotations. You might want to rest him a little, give him an extra day anywhere you can, and throw one of those guys in there. They gotta be ready to jump into that role. They got to be ready to possibly bounce back and forth between the bullpen and the rotation. And it's going to be interesting to see 2 guys that really, for the most part, haven't been bullpen pitchers. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to that.
And not for nothing, Billy, it's probably not a horrible problem either to give your 39 and 40-year-old starting 1 and 2 a day or 2 off too if they need it also.
100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see.
100%.
But Chet, I don't think they'll do the 6-man rotation the whole year. They might do it throughout the year, but not the whole year.
No, it's not gonna be like that. they're going to predominantly go 5. Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander pitch in 5-man rotations. When you have guys like that on your team, you customize your rotation to them and their routine at this point. You don't go messing with that. You give them an extra day when you can. You try to do it as much as possible if you're afforded that luxury to be able to. But
Right.
you don't mess with their regular routine. It's not
No,
going to
not at
happen.
all. You're not paying 2 players $86 million to fuck with their routine.
Yeah, to tell them what no.
No.
They're going to pitch when they're going to pitch, and they're going to pitch every 5 days, and that's going to be how it is. And Lou, my last question for the Mets, and we kind of talked about it a little already. What do you do with Alvarez and Beatty? Like, what is the plan? Because I think the Mets hope Alvarez makes this decision easy for them. I think they hope he comes in and struggles in spring training. And so it's a lot easier for them to say, we're sending him down to get some more experience, to get some more regular playing time, because he is our catcher of the future.
Sure.
I don't know. Defensively, they're probably right, because they do have 2 solid defensive catchers in Navarez and Nito. I can't argue that. But offensively, this kid could come into spring training and be one of the top 3 or 4 bats on the team.
Right.
And if he is, how do you just ignore that on a team that everyone from the top baseball analysts to 2 yo-yos like us agree that they need that next bat?
Yeah, Billy, they need another bat. 100% they need another bat. And I honestly, I'm going to go back to kind of what I said. I think by July, either Alvarez or Beatty will not be on this New York Mets team because they're going to trade for somebody at the deadline to get another bat in, because that's what they're going to. If they're going to, listen, if the Mets are going to win a World Series this year, Billy, they need another bat this year. They're not winning a World Series with their current offensive lineup. I'm sorry. When Vogelback is your number 5 and you have to take him out when a lefty comes in, that is not going to win you a World Series. It's just not. You have to get somebody in, and you're going to have to get rid of either Beatty or Alvarez for it. And in my opinion, the odd man out there is Beatty.
It's Beatty. I agree.
It's Beatty.
It's going to be Beatty, and every Met fan is going to say it's going to be Beatty, because you know why? Because their poster boy just told you why. Because every
Manny
Met
Machado.
fan already thinks that Manny Machado to the Mets is done. And it very well could be, but I'm not buying it. I think as of right now, there are 4 teams in play for Manny Machado if he opts out of that contract. And it's the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Padres. And I think every one of those teams has a legitimate shot at bringing Manny Machado in.
Right. I mean, listen, I would love to replace Manny Machado with Josh Donaldson.
This is the last year of Donaldson's contract.
Yeah.
This is probably Gleyber Torres' last year with the Yankees, barring something unforeseen, if he even makes it through the year. Next year is the last year on DJ's contract. They're going to be paying cheap at shortstop.
Yep. I agree. And Pete, it won't be Toronto, because you still got a big contract with Matt Chapman. You would have to get rid of Matt Chapman somehow. You'd have to.
I don't think there's any shot Manny Machado has any interest in going to play in Canada. And you can't count the Padres out, Chet. I'm sorry, man. They spend money. Who thought they were going to sign Xander Bogaerts? I mean, they just pull money out of anywhere. So I will not count the Padres out until he's officially signed somewhere else. And the Dodgers to me, man, they feel like they're lying in wait right now. Yeah. They're like you feel like they're waiting to do something. They've let too much go and everything else, and they're not really replacing it. And there's obviously, I think they're going with one of their top prospects to start at third base going into spring training. But I think the Dodgers would love to bring Manny back. I think the Dodgers never wanted Manny to leave in the first place after he spent that half the season there.
And they went to the World Series with them.
Yep, exactly. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know if we're going to get to 10 years on it. I don't think the money's going to be an object. I don't know if he's going to get 10 years, but we're not talking about trades. They don't need to. They don't need to trade. He already said he's opting out of the contract after this year. We're talking about free agency in the winter of 2023, early 2024, where Manny Machado is going to be a free agent. He just declared it a couple of days ago.
Right. Yeah, no, Pete, what I'm talking about trading with the Mets, I'm talking about you guys are like Ohtani. Like, I could totally see the Mets getting Ohtani in July, but you would have to give up 80. You would have to give up 80. You don't think
You're giving
Ohtani?
it. Do you if you're trading for Ohtani, you're giving up Beatty and Alvarez. I got news for you. That's probably where it starts. And I don't know. I've been vocal about this before. I don't trade for Ohtani. I wait until he becomes a free agent. I make sure Ohtani wants to be here before I go ransoming half my farm system that I'm so proud of building. And Steve Cohen has been very vocal at the fact that he's very proud of the progress they're making with that farm system. So I don't go running to trade it away for a guy I don't know if I'm going to have 6 months after that.
Well, I think if you guys talk and you guys trade for him and he's like and he makes like a handshake agreement that he wants to stay a Met, how do you
they
not?
don't, unfortunately, I think they used to do that a lot. They used to give the teams a window to work out contracts with those players, and it doesn't happen anymore. I'm not sure why. I really don't know why they ever went away
Probably
from
the
that.
agencies,
But it was something that they just did. I think Scott Boras probably had a lot to do with that because we all know Boras really hates, for the most part, his guys signing before they hit free agency. But for whatever reason, they don't get that window to talk to the player anymore. And in a situation like this, when you have to give up so much, because again, the Angels aren't going to give them away, and they shouldn't.
No, they're not.
You also have to realize what teams are going to be willing to pay because you're not guaranteed them. The Kings ransom, the time to trade Ohtani was after last season.
Yeah.
Was at last year's trading deadline. That's when you had prime market where you could have held somebody hostage for. Now, I don't know.
Chet, the Red Sox signed Devers to a 13-year, $330 million deal. He's not going anywhere.
Boston finally did something right, and you're already trading the guy.
Right. Yeah. They're not. Rafael Devers will be a Boston Red Sox. He's going to be the franchise player. He's going to be their franchise player. They lost Bogarts. They lost Betts. He's 100%. He's staying in a Red Sox uniform his whole career, in my opinion, anyway.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not even an option.
Right? Yeah. You don't sign somebody a 13-year, $330 million deal and trade him the next year.
I'll tell you right now. Anybody that the Mets are going to trade for is somebody we're probably not even going to be talking about anytime soon, because I think it's going to be a more see how a season starts, see how things play out, see where a need develops type of thing. Because, I mean, seriously speaking, right now, the only position they have to put him in is third base and possibly left field. And, hey, I'll be honest with you. I thought Mark Canha had a good year for the Mets. I think he was as advertised. He was a good guy on the team. I don't think that the Mets are necessarily looking to replace Mark Canha. So now you're talking about third base and a right-handed hitting DH. So it's going to be more of a fit bat. It's not. I don't think we're going to see the Mets trading for a star at the deadline. At least not as we sit here today. That could change at the drop of a dime at any point during the season. You don't know what could happen, who could become available. But as we sit here today, I'm not too sure a star is going to be the trade we see this team make during the year.
You need Starling Marte to come back, first off. You need Starling Marte to come back. And you know what? Tommy Pham off the bench, 100%. Great hitter. Great hitter. He would be great for the Mets. I agree with you on that, Chet.
No, it is. It's absolutely – it's an improved piece to what's pretty much a lost art on a lot of teams nowadays is having a good bench. I mean – as you're talking to two Yankee fans who saw our team win a lot of World Series with a lot of good bench play. I mean, we had guys, Ruben Sierra, Cecil Fielder, Raul Ibanez. We had a lot of big
Gerald Williams.
We had a lot of guys come off our bench and help us win a lot of big games in a lot of World Series. But Lou, speaking of, we're going to move into the Yankees now. We're going to keep this going. So starting with the Yankees, the biggest question here. Who's going to be the fifth starter? Is it going to be Domingo Germán? Is it going to be Clark Schmidt? Or is the person not even a Yankee right now?
I think Billy, believe it or not, the Yankees win games when Herman is actually on the mound starting. Even though he gives up a good amount of ERA, I don't like Schmidt. I don't. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because of him giving up 3 home runs to the Astros during two. Yeah, that'd be sick. That'd be sick. Giving up 3 home runs to the Astros in the ALCS. I'm not a huge fan of him right now. Still a little butthurt about it. But I think it's going to be Herman. Herman has kind of proven himself over the years that he has the capability of pitching, and him being our fifth guy is not the worst thing in the world, especially when you have Michael King when Michael King's coming back in the lineup. You're gonna have Clay Holmes in the line in the starting rotation. You're gonna have Peralta in the rotation. You have a lot of people that can back him up, and I really think that Herman being our fifth guy is not the worst thing in the world because he's probably a number 3, or he could possibly be a number 3 or 4 anywhere else in a starting rotation.
I agree. I think it's going to be Herman, but I think Schmidt's going to get the opportunity. And I'll be honest with you, I'm I'm not upset with Clark Schmidt. It happened. We've seen it happen. It's happened to a lot better guys than Clark Schmidt, and we get it. It's time to move on. It's time to turn that page. And I think the kid has the good enough stuff. I like him in our bullpen too. And I think that's what it might come down to is he's established in the bullpen already. And it could be that he serves a better purpose there. And Herman last year, Herman was good for the most part last year.
That's what I'm saying.
I got to give credit to where it's due as your number 5 starter. And like I said, whoever it is to me is going to be the number 5 starter because I don't believe Frankie Montas is coming back at any point during the year next year. I don't see it happening. And if he does, it might be like a start or two at the end of the year when it's like, okay, we just need somebody to eat some innings or something like that. I don't think it's going to be in a prominent role at any point on this team. And if he is, we're probably in trouble because that means we probably lost somebody that we couldn't afford to lose. But I agree with you on that one. I think it's going to be Herman.
Yeah, and listen, not for nothing, Billy. Him being the 5th pitcher behind Cole, Rendon, Severino, and who's our lefty? I can't think right now. Who's our lefty right now? What's his name? Who's our lefty mustache pitcher?
Oh, Nestor Cortez.
Nestor Cortez. Sorry, I couldn't think of his name. But him being our 5th guy is going to be it's a great rotation, to be honest. It's a great rotation. And we have 2 stellar lefties. Cole Hamels, didn't he retire?
Yeah, exactly.
He retired.
He's hurt in my brain. I can't. But no, I think
having Nestor Cortez as our number 3 or 4 and Herman being our 5th, I'm totally okay with that.
I think we're in good shape in the starting rotation. But now it comes down to my next question: the importance of Giancarlo Stanton.
Sure.
What do you feel we need to get out of Giancarlo Stanton this year?
We need a little bit less. We need less strikeouts from Giancarlo Stanton, and we need more of him putting the ball into play. I've noticed over the last few years he is striking and swinging at a lot of pitches that he's coming nowhere near to, Billy. He's trying to swing fences every single at bat. We need more of the. I would love to see Giancarlo Stanton hit less home runs and have like a 270 average than bat 220 and have 35 home runs.
I'm with you. And he used to be a guy that did that. He wasn't. And you know what? Maybe the shift will help him a little too. I don't know. But we need Stanton to come back. I'm not saying be MVP Stanton, but we need a good Giancarlo Stanton because let's be real. He's not going anywhere. We need him to produce on this team. And he makes that lineup that much longer. You know,
he does.
And with the lineup we have right now and the questions we have in that lineup, we need it. It's necessary. He's going to be a very key factor to this team this year.
Yeah. No, he is. And especially since, Billy, the team batting average was everyone on this team's batting average besides Judge is under like 260. It's not great.
No,
We need to get on base more. We need to stop striking out as much because that's what's going to cause us to not advance anywhere in the playoffs if we're not getting on base. We can't rely on Harrison Bader to hit 5 home runs for us in a postseason again and expect to win anything.
no. If we're doing that, we're in trouble. And the thing with Stanton too is Stanton's a DH. He's here to hit. He's not. I don't care what anybody says. He's not going to be playing the field a lot. If the Yankees were giving any consideration to Stanton spending any substantial time on the field, they'd be Stanton would be already been named the starting left fielder, and it would be, and we wouldn't be going through this Hicks and everything else crap. It would be Stanton's the left fielder, and they would have brought in a DH.
Right.
That would have been it, and it's not. That's not the case. He is our designated hitter. We need him to hit. And
right, Chet. The Yankees batted 241 overall last year, and Aaron Judge was 311 of that. If Aaron Judge wasn't in that lineup, that batting average goes to 220.
Exactly. We all need the Yankees need to improve batting average wise. It's not a secret. 100%. But the last question for the New York Yankees: is the bullpen good enough? There's no more Aroldis Chapman. There's no more Zach Britton. There's no more Green. Is this bullpen good enough?
Billy, I still think it's the best bullpen in baseball. You arguably have the best setup man in baseball in Michael King, in my opinion, especially if he comes back healthy pitching the way that he did last year. Is Clay Holmes our closer like that I'm looking for long term?
Going into the season, Clay Holmes is the closer. I don't believe it's etched in stone, and I do believe if he struggles like he did in the second half of this year, you might see King or Loaisiga get that opportunity. My one thing that worries me about the Yankee bullpen this year:
not enough lefties.
Not enough lefties. We have Wandy Peralta. Lou Trevino has great numbers against lefties. We have this kid, Matt Crook, in spring training. He's probably going to out of the no names, probably has the best shot of anyone to make the team because he's a lefty reliever. Right. One thing I don't want to see, I don't want to see, I'm really not looking for, I don't want to see Abreu make this team. I've had enough of that. The ship has sailed. I don't need, with all these other guys, with a full season of Trevino, with Loaisiga, with King back, with either Herman or Schmidt in the bullpen. I just don't see a need. If Abreu's minor league depth that we use a couple of times sporadically through the season, fine. He doesn't need to be on this roster. I'd rather take a guy like this kid Crook. I'd rather take him, I'd rather have that other kid who pitched last year, the closer from AAA, Weiser. He was good. I'd rather see him continue pitching.
Right.
And we also still have Scott Efros.
Right.
You know, we have options. We have guys on the team. We have Ron, and another guy I didn't even mention. We still have Ron Marinaccio, who's going to be in the opening day bullpen.
Right. Yeah. No, Billy. I still think they're the best bullpen in baseball. What other team has a better bullpen than the Yankees right now? I really don't think it's the bullpen didn't cost us the series against the Astros.
The biggest thing is we need the quantity to continue to be quality, and that's going to be the key to that bullpen because we definitely have the quantity. Mm-hmm. Let's make sure we have the quality.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, you're right, and you're right, Chet. You're right. They definitely have the Yankees bullpen definitely has a lot of choices. And that's why I'm not too worried about them. Like Billy's question was like, do we have to worry about the Yankee bullpen? I'm not worried about the Yankee bullpen. I'm not worried about the Yankee pitching in general. It's just, the Yankees are having right now the same problems, in my opinion, that the Mets are having, and that's offense. The Yankees don't have enough people that get on base, and the Mets don't have enough power hitters to score runs. Yeah. That's in that. You want Giancarlo Stanton? I'll gladly give me Jeff McNeil. I'll give you Gleyber Torres right now and Giancarlo Stanton for McNeil and somebody else. 100%. Let's even it out.
All right. And now, absolutely. Moving on to this, let's get into the position battles going on these teams in spring training. We'll start with the Mets. Who's going to be the Met third baseman on opening day? Is it going to be Beatty or is it going to be Escobar?
It's going to be Escobar. And I'm going to tell you right now why it's going to be Escobar. Escobar proved at the last half of the season in September and through the playoffs that he is more than capable of being your starting third baseman. The reason why it's not going to be Beatty specifically, he's not a switch hitter. Escobar can hit from both sides of the plate. You need somebody that's going to also not be left-handed because you have Vogelback also, who's a lefty. I think it's going to be Escobar.
I think it's going to be Escobar as well. I do believe there is a slim chance that Beatty has the opportunity to play his way into the job. It could be an injury, it could be performance, but I do believe there's a slim chance there. But to me right now, if everything plays out the way that everyone thinks it will, I think Escobar will be in there on opening day.
I agree.
And the only other position I see with the Mets is catcher. Is it going to be a committee? One of them going to be the clear-cut starter? Who's going to be the Met catcher on opening day?
McCann.
McCann's gone, though.
I mean, I'm not McCann. I'm sorry. I think it's going to be
Navarez or Nito?
Nito. I think it's going to be Nito. I think he's a little bit better defensively. They both suck. They both suck. I want it to be Alvarez, but I think it's going to be Nito because the Mets just are showing signs that Alvarez is not headed towards starting with the MLB.
I mean, I'm going to go a little different route. I'm going to say I don't know because you know what? I don't think they know. I see this position playing out as both of them playing 3 games a week, riding the hot hand when one of them's hot. I don't see a clear-cut starter coming out of this situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what we were talking about earlier, Mario. And hi, Mario. I miss you, by the way. We were talking about that earlier, that if Alvarez has a monster spring training, he's going to make this decision for the Mets difficult because the Mets are showing that they don't want him to start. For whatever reason, they don't want him to be the starting catcher at opening.
Guys, I don't think Alvarez has any shot at being the starting catcher. I believe Alvarez's best shot to play his way onto this team day one is as the right-handed hitting DH. I don't think, barring injury or anything like that, I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to be the opening day catcher.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't think so either. I don't think so. And which is crazy to me because I think you have to have Alvarez in this lineup one way or another. You just have to. Get the kid some reps. What is there? Who are you going to be putting in there? Who was the person who was their DH last year? It was either Vogelback or who else? Who?
They still have Darren Ruff. It's good. They're going to go back.
The guy that you got from the Giants who batted a solid 143.
That's what I'm saying. That's how it's good. That's how it's going to look right now.
Right.
And
so why not just have Alvarez be there?
It's gonna be interesting. And the only way he could change their minds is to go out and have a great spring. And I hope he does, because I want to see how they justify if he has a great spring, saying it really didn't play a factor and we were always going to send him down. Because that's what they're going to have to say if they do it. If he goes out and hits 350 this spring, and you still send him down, that's what you gotta say. You gotta admit we never had any intention on him making the team.
Right. Agreed. It's going to be one of those situations where, like, where Higgy 2 years ago had 7 home runs and batted 350 for the Yankees in spring training, and we had to have him in our lineup, and then he batted 150. Like, it's just one of those things. He's going to have to prove in spring training he belongs in that lineup. And in my opinion, just on paper alone, he belongs in that lineup, because if Ruff is your starting right-handed DH right now, that's a problem. He sucks.
It's gonna be real interesting to see how it plays out. But let's just keep it moving now. We're gonna get into the Yankees. Who starts in left field for the Yankees?
Billy, it's Aaron Hicks. I hate to say it. It's fucking Aaron Hicks. They love this guy so much. They think that, he has a long-term contract with the Yankees, had a long-term contract with the Yankees. Yeah, and I'll stop saying names. He he's going to be a starting left fielder. I would love for it to be Cabrera. I would love for it to be Cabrera. But he's going to be the starting left fielder for the Yankees until he gets in trouble again, and that's or he gets hurt again, and that's when they're going to put Cabrera out in the outfield.
I'm going to go the opposite, and I'm going to say it's going to be Cabrera.
Okay.
I think Cabrera is going to go into spring training and he's going to win the job. I honestly think they want it to be Cabrera because I think they know they have to give Hicks the chance, but I think they want Cabrera to outplay him.
Yeah. I would listen, I would rather have Oswaldo Cabrera out there than Aaron Hicks because again, I'm the person who's been saying that we need these young kids to play. I want Volpe out there. No. I want Cabrera out there, but you know, I'm not a major league coach or scout by any chance. So
all right, and keep it moving. Who's going to be our shortstop?
It's going to be IKF. It's going to be IKF. The Yankees don't like putting these young kids to start. They just don't like them. They like to bring them up from the AAA system and have them work their way through it. It's going to be IKF. He's not a bad defensive shortstop. He just doesn't hit like these shortstops do.
I'm going to go against you again, and I'm going to say it's going to be Peralta. Nah. I think Peralta is going to come into spring training, and he's going to pull a 1996 on us, and he's going to make you play him because that's what Derek Jeter did in 1996. Derek Jeter made the Yankees move Tony Fernandez and made them play him. Right. And I think that's what Peralta is going to do this spring. And I mean, IKF is no Tony Fernandez 1996 version. So it's not going to be that difficult. I think he's going to come up and I think he's going to prove he belongs there. But I also saw today, which I liked hearing, that Aaron Boone came out and said all three of them are going to play multiple positions in spring training.
That's good.
I think that is going to be the lead for Volpe to move to either third or second base and go back to the minor leagues to play one of those positions for at least the start of the season and barring injury or lack of production, possibly the whole season, where next year it will be Volpe and Peralta because I think they believe Peralta is the better defensive shortstop of the two. So I think this multiple position thing is more for Volpe than for anyone else.
Well, then what I'm hoping for as a Yankee fan is that next year, like hopefully Gleyber Torres is gone, or hopefully he proves me wrong and he has a great season this year. But hopefully we wind up seeing it as our middle infielders is Volpe and Peralta. Like that would be an ideal situation for me.
Or Volpe's your third baseman, one or the other.
Right, exactly right. Hey, Uncle Tom, what's up, Uncle Tom? Hey, yo. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
And then my last position on the Yankees, this is something not really anyone's talking about, but it's something that has me interested, and it's the catcher position. I'm going to butcher this last name, so forgive me, everyone, but I'm going to ask the question. Does Ben Rochevert get a shot at being the Yankee catcher?
I don't know. The only reason why I say about it, Billy, is because Jose Trevino was an all-star technically last year. I think the Yankees have a little faith in him, and having Higgy as their backup catcher. I'm not saying that this kid can't be the starting catcher, but I still think it's going to be Jose Trevino starting the year.
I believe you're right, but I want to see it. I want to see them give this kid a chance. I want to see this kid play. I think this kid can hit 15 to 20 home runs in Yankee Stadium as a left-handed bat. I think this kid is could be the missing piece at the bottom of that lineup that we're all like. We looked at the bottom of that lineup last year, and half the time it made us nauseous. I think he could add a little thump down there and make it that much better. So I'm here for it. I'd love to see him get a shot.
Sure. Yeah, no, I would love to see him get a shot too. We'd love it.
All right, Lou, we're going to finish up tonight. We're going to do a little better or worse. I'm going to ask you certain positions on these teams. You're going to tell me, is it better than last year or worse? And we're going to start with the Mets starting rotation. Is it better or worse than
I'll let you start off that one, Billy. Is it better or worse?
I'm going to say it's better, and I said it before, because of Justin Verlander, availability is the greatest ability you can have.
Yeah, Billy, I'm gonna go with better. I'm gonna go with better, and just for the simple fact that, like you said, you have one pitcher who Jacob deGrom who doesn't pitch and gets hurt a lot, and you have Justin Verlander who just needs Tommy John, and then he's fine. I think the Mets are a better rotation on paper this year with Verlander, Scherzer than deGrom and Scherzer, 100%,
Absolutely. Sounds good.
and
Yeah, yeah,
Quintana.
Quintana. And then moving on to the Met bullpen. Is the Met bullpen better or worse than
The
it
Mets
was last?
bullpen is better, and I'm going to tell you right now why they're better. Davidson. Yeah, you have Davidson alone makes that bullpen better.
David Robertson.
David Robertson makes that bullpen better, and then you have like you have McGill and you have Peterson still in that thing, and you have the best closer arguably in baseball. I think it's better. I think David Robertson makes that bullpen better.
I agree. I think it's going to be better. I think that bringing back Ottavino was another good move. I had said it to you guys, to me, going into last offseason, going into the offseason, that Diaz was the Mets' most important free agent to bring back, and it was the first deal they got done, and rightfully so, it should have been the first deal they got done because he was the most important piece. You see how easy they were able to replace deGrom. I don't think they could have done that if they lost Edwin Diaz. So I agree it's better. And for the last position on the Mets, we've talked about it a lot tonight. Catcher. Is the catching position better or worse than it was last year?
If Alvarez is not in this lineup taking reps at catcher, they are not better, in my opinion.
See, and this is the one where we're going to disagree because I'm going to say they are better because I think Narvaez is a better catcher than James McCann.
I don't know about that.
I think James McCann just didn't work out in New York. He's not the first guy we've seen not work out in New York. He won't be the last guy we've seen not make it out in New York. But
yeah,
it was what it was. I think the Mets are going in a better direction. I hope it eventually leads to at some point this season Alvarez, but at the same time, even starting the year with Narvaez and Nito, I think they're in a better position than they were at the start of last year.
I mean, that is true, too, because McCann was hurt a lot throughout his time here in New York also. So, yeah, okay. All right, you changed my mind on that. They're better. They're better.
Okay. And now we're going to go to the Yankees. The Yankee outfield, better or worse than it was in 2022?
They're technically the same, right? They're technically the same. If Aaron Hicks is the starting left fielder for the Yankees, they're worse. They're worse. I think it needs to go your 3 outfield and your DH, Judge, Stanton, Bader, Cabrera. Those, in my opinion, needs to be your 4 outfield switching as far as that goes. But right now, Billy, if Aaron Hicks is starting in left field, the Yankees are worse in the outfield.
I disagree with you, and I'm going to say the Yankees are better, regardless of who's starting in left field. You put Harrison Bader, a multiple Gold Glove winning center fielder, in the middle of this field. That is an upgrade over Aaron Hicks starting in center field opening day 2022. And Aaron Hicks in left field is better than Aaron Hicks in center field right now. So to me, even if Hicks is this left fielder, and I don't believe he's going to be, I believe it's going to be Cabrera. So if you tell me Judge, Bader, Cabrera, yes, I think that's a better outfield than what started the 2022 season for the Yankees.
You know what, Billy? We're going to do another bet like we did at the beginning of the football season last year. We both said if the Cardinals or the Lions make the playoffs, one of us takes us out for dinner. Yeah. They both wound up not making the playoffs, right? Yeah. If Aaron Hicks is the starting left fielder on opening day, you and I are going to a bar. You're paying for my drinks. If it's Cabrera, we'll go to a bar and I'll pay for yours.
I mean, that's... You know what? We'll do it. I mean, I don't know how fair it's going to be because there is some obsession in this organization with giving Hicks a chance. Right. But you know what? We'll see how it plays out. Why not? Either way, we have a good time.
It's not going to be Stanton. He's starting off as DH. Yeah. God damn it, Chet. He's starting off as DH.
Now, the Yankee shortstop position, is it going to be better or is it going to be worse than it was in 2022?
It's going to be better if Peralta is actually getting reps at short. If it's just IKF the whole year, it's worse. But if Peralta is actually getting reps at short, it's better.
I agree. I think it's going to be better because, like I said a couple of minutes ago, I believe it's going to be Peralta. And I think Peralta is going to be up here. I think this is going to be the start of a very good major league career. I'm not going to go out and say he's going to be all world, the best shortstop. No, I think we're looking at the start of a very good major league career, and hopefully the turning point of adding another dimension of speed and contact hitting to the Yankees that we desperately all know we need.
Yeah, 100%.
And my last question with the Yankees, the bullpen, is it going to be better or worse?
It's 100% better just because Aroldis Chapman is not in this freaking lineup. It is not in this bullpen. Michael King is coming back off of a great year last year. I would have loved to have seen Zach Britton do something with us. I would have loved to see him come back and have this great, after surgery performance. But yeah, Peraza, right. But I really do think it's going. I think the Yankee bullpen overall is better. I think it's better. Chapman was a cancer. He was a cancer. Having Efros, having Trevino, having Peralta, I think they're overall, Billy. I think they're better.
I agree. I think it's going to be better. I think again, as long as the quantity can stay quality, I think the bullpen is going to be one of the strengths of this team going into the year.
Right. I mean, even the starting rotation, like Chet's talking about right now. The starting overall, the Yankees are a better team than they were at the start of 2022. The problem is, and it's like I said, it's offense. We need people to get on base. We strike out an average of like 15 times to 16 times a game. That's too much. You're not putting the ball in play. But I'm really hoping, like you said, Billy, I'm really hoping that the shift helps out players like Stanton, helps players out like Rizzo, helps players out like Vogelback, because I want to see them get the Mets and the Yankees do well this year. And I think not having the shift is going to help the offense a little bit.
It's going to be interesting to see. We will see how it plays out. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to bring a dynamic back to baseball that us as fans have definitely missed.
Right. All right, Billy, one last question before we end the show for tonight, and I want to ask you that I wanted to ask you. If the Yankees don't do well this year, is Aaron Boone's job in jeopardy?
I think it's going to depend why. That's a very general question, because I don't like to be the guy that jumps to that and be like, "Oh yeah, fire this one, fire that one." Why? If he loses multiple guys to multiple injuries, can you blame him?
Right.
If Aaron Judge goes down and misses 60 games, God forbid, can you blame Aaron Boone for that? No, I don't believe in blaming the manager for unforeseen circumstances.
Right.
If Aaron Boone mismanages this team, I believe you could see something. I mean, Hal is not his father. We know that. I don't think Aaron Boone would still be here right now if George was here. That's just my opinion. I don't know, but I'm not one for jumping the gun on that until I see the reasons why.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, so let's just see how the season goes, because listen, if everyone's healthy, Billy, and something doesn't, something goes wrong, I don't know. I know you're not anti-Boone. I'm not really anti-Boone either. But I'm just kind of in one of those things where sometimes you just need to change. I mean, Philly was the perfect example with Joe Girardi, right? You got rid of Joe Girardi, and what happened? He went to the World Series in the same year. So it's just one of those things. I don't know.
I mean, but it doesn't always work out like that. You can make arguments on both sides. I mean, I've been the advocate of screaming since the end of last season. Show me how you make it better. If you tell me there's a way you're going to make them better by doing it, I'm listening. But making change for the sake of making change, I don't see we're the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
We don't need to do these things. We don't need to just fire a manager to fire a manager, and for what? We didn't get any better by doing it. The team didn't become any better. It makes no sense. If you see a real problem with the manager, then yeah. But you can't go blaming the manager for injuries. You can't go blaming the manager when guys don't hit.
Sure.
I mean, you need to evaluate things. I was all 4 years ago. I was on board when the Yankees fired Kevin Long, because I looked at Kevin Long And at that time, the only guy that Kevin Long successfully developed was Robinson Cano.
Right.
Like I wasn't crediting Kevin Long for anything Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter, or Mark Teixeira did.
Right.
Let's be serious. Let's be serious here. I'm talking about the guys that came up that he developed and helped his hitters. It was really Robinson Cano, and that was it. So yeah, there was time for a change there. If you find reasons to make change, do it. But don't just do it because hey, we lost. Let's fire a manager because those are the teams that end up in decade-long tailspins and don't win anything.
Right. No, I agree. All right, Billy, do we have anything else for today?
Nope, that is going to be our show for tonight. We'll come back next week. We will get into the WBC. We're going to talk about, we will be back starting now. We're back.
We're back every week.
7 o'clock.
Really quick, though, Billy, off the top of your head, who's winning the World Series Baseball Classic?
I'm going to go with the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And it's not a slight. The United States has a great lineup. I don't know if the United States has the pitching where I believe the Dominican Republic has both.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate a little bit. I'm gonna say Puerto Rico is actually gonna win just because you picked Dominican Republic and that was my choice. So we're gonna go with Puerto Rico.
No, another good choice. Another good choice there.
Yep.
A team to watch out for, Mexico.
That's so weird to say. It's so weird to say.
I'm serious.
No, I know.
I mean, they've got Julio Urias in a big game. I'll take him.
Right.
I like the chances.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you
Billy.
for tuning in tonight. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe to the True to New York Sports YouTube channel, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of your night.